WMGAGE. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for another episode of Cup of Joe with Web3 Joe. That's Web3 Job, Ops, and Events, your hub, headquarters, home base for all things Web3 talent and recruitment. They power these spaces. We're on every Wednesday, every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, sitting down with leaders from the space to talk about how you can land your dream job over coffee. The coffee is optional, but we appreciate you stopping by either way, whether you're listening live here on X to the recording here on X or on Spotify and or YouTube. We got a very special guest with us today, Mr. Troy Kalak. He is the founder of Ordinauts, Retordinals, and he's on the team over at Ordzar, and he's also an advisor on the Pizza Ninjas squad. So very excited to have him here with us to talk shop on getting hired in Web3, succeeding in your role. Troy, how are you doing, bro? Happy Wednesday.
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm good, man. I'm just it was great meeting you a few weeks ago. Was it a few weeks ago? In in your I don't know if I'm supposed to dox you or anything, but
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm pretty
uh,
doxed. It was great having you on the island, bro. It was great meeting you
yeah,
in
yeah.
person.
It was Puerto Rico for the late person. And yeah, man, you're a great guy. It was a great week of relaxation. I did like an hour of work, while I was there, but. But all of it's kind of work in a way, it's all aligned, But yeah, man. Yeah, how you doing? What's going on?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. It's Halloween week. I'm
Yeah.
excited as we get closer to the general holiday season, and I'm actually in the Bay Area for a little bit. So on your side
Oh yeah.
of the
Yeah. What are
states.
you doing here? I see my friend Lawrence Fuller there. He's a wonderful guy. How you doing, Lawrence? Um. Oh yeah. What are you doing in the Bay Area?
Well, this is where the family's at, right? So I'm gonna actually had to come back for a gender reveal from my sister. She's gonna be having a little baby in a few months, and then I decided to just stick around through Thanksgiving, so that I can spend some time with the fam, and then I'll probably spend the rest of the year back on the island.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear, man. Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah,
Um.
yes, sir. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Great to have you. Thank you for stopping by. We're talking getting hired, succeeding in a professional role in Web3. I know you've held multiple as a founder, as an advisor, and just a general contributor to multiple teams. Can you give us, for those who may be less familiar, an idea of who you are, what you do, and how you got started doing it?
Yeah, man. You mean me speed up to Web3 or just like when I was 4 years old?
Yeah, mostly Web3, but if you want to give us some context from before then,
Oh,
that's cool too.
no, I just I'm just 20, I'm an actor and screenwriter in Hollywood for a long time and over 30 years and during COVID you had ample time to do stuff and I was making music and writing songs and recording demos and auditions were sort of few and far between at the beginning of COVID. And but my friend who I used to invest with a lot of tokens before 2020, just for like 3 or 4 years. He was in apps, developing apps, and he also worked in securities fraud. So he just kind of saw both sides of the coin, no pun intended. And he's always on to the next thing. He's always on to some new innovation. And I was like, like what is this digital art on chain stuff, and what is this NBA Top Shot stuff? Like, you got to explain this to me. And he got on the phone and he was like, well, you know, you can see these videos, these basketball videos, and they're like 30-second videos of highlights of the past year. And I was like, you mean the NBA when nobody was in the audience because it was COVID? Like, I want to watch those games. Like, I want to watch those games. I was like, I can just go on YouTube and watch those. He goes, yeah, but like you can go print out a Mickey Mantle card and tape it to your wall, but do you own that Mickey Mantle card? I said, okay, I see what you're going at. So, I bought like some NFTs, I bought my first pack, and so I felt something. I was like, okay, all right, I felt that. just like when I buy anything, really, I feel that. But like in this case, it's like I own this particular pack, unless I give someone access to my wallet, it's not theirs, right? And then that day he threw me into a Telegram group, and that really just started everything. Really, I'm still in this group, and it was a crypto art and NBA Top Shot, trading group, like about 400 people. I couldn't believe. I was like, wow, there's 400 people already here, and every day I just spent, you know, every day in there, and then speed up about 6 months. That's when the apes started minting. I was like, okay, what's this? And then all every other day or every 3 days there was a mint, and then every day there was a mint, and then there was like 10 mints a day, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on here, man. It's in and again, we had stimmies from the government. At the same time, we were at home. If you're in the U.S., you had some stimmies. I don't know about the rest of the world. I wasn't tracking that, but you just had ample time to like grow and figure this stuff out. We're all, and everybody was sort of a great trader because everything was new. Everything from art blocks, the big gas fees that was happening from that, and then like Beeple sale, and then all that stuff. And then I noticed when the apes dropped, I was like, oh man, this is basic lore. Okay, well, I'm a writer. Let me dig into that. I'm not going to spend time on spaces. I'm going to get in the trenches, and I'm gonna like throw my hat in the ring and see if some of these projects, if they're really doing IP and they have cartoon characters as fucking art. I figure to me that translates. Let's put this, let's make a show out of this. As an actor writer, that's the way I saw it. So I started writing the lore and doing the animation and comic books for Gutter Cat Gang, and I was a collab manager, so I was like in the nest of like business dev, like getting projects whitelist, and everybody was printing, so I was just like fully immersed in that. And fast forward a couple of years, Ordinals come out, and I'm like, okay, 40 of my friends from the Gutter Cat Gang were already created a Discord, Ordinal Discord, and I was like, okay, if they're here, I trust them. I've invested with them before. We're on to something. This is new. I like this technology kind of stuff. And it was, and then we, first day of Ordinals, we minted this project called Ordinauts. It was that and Ordinal Shards are like my first, Ordinals, and I was like, I like this anime project. And me and Dave, we were already partners from Gutter Cat Gang. We wrote the lore for this project in like a day, just goofing around, and we dropped it into Discord, and people thought that this was the lore for the project. And then a few months later, um, the founder, he had life stuff was happening to him, so he couldn't take it on anymore. And he was looking for an acquisition, so we about a week goes by and we just acquired it, and that was four guys from the Gutter Cat Gang. It was me, Dave, Ord Lord, and Maisie, and we're still the owners of this project. And we took a floor that was like zero point zero 0.01 up to, right now it's at a half a Bitcoin, right? So it's it you know it's we just been providing free and a lot of alpha. We got one of the top alpha groups in the space, and especially in ordinals, and we got a lot of top minds and investors in the chat in our private alpha group. I mean, if you saw some of the characters in there, you'd be like, wow, these characters from these leaders in ordinals are all in this, this group basically. So that's basically it, man. Just and then I met Trevor, and a few years ago at NFT NYC. He was a big fan of one of the shows I'm on, and we became friends. And he found out that me and Dave are really good writers, and then he hired us last year at some point to be a part of the Pizza Ninja team to do the same basic thing, to produce animations and stories, and just push IP and that idea, get it out to the masses, eventually into the to the world, so they can pay attention to what the fuck's going on here from builders that are building from the bottom up, rather than the top down, the old infrastructure in Hollywood. So that said, yeah, man, just been doing that, and I do a lot of things, so because I'm a good guy in the space, a lot of people want me to be a part of their team, so I look at what they have, and from owning Ordzar now to doing IP animated product releases and just all kinds of stuff. And I'm I ever since Ordinal started as well, I was also onboarding artists from Ethereum to Bitcoin, and I don't know, just all in there, man. Like it's the whole thing is a game to me, and I like to play within that game, how it can be useful and help people out and shit like that, and building social credit rather than charging for mints every fucking week and grifting and shit like that. But I mean, so yeah, I think I'm rambling a little bit, but there you go.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I mean, that energy definitely comes through whether interacting with you here on X, and it definitely comes through meeting you in person, bro. I mean, we had a
Oh,
good
that's
time a
cool.
few weeks
That's good to
ago.
know. It's good to
Yeah,
know.
absolutely, absolutely. So it makes sense how you made it here. Congrats on all your accomplishments. Are there any milestones that you're especially proud of since getting involved with Web3?
I mean, with the first big milestone, I guess, was when we did the comic book for Gutter Cat Gang. That we sold out. It was 12,000 copies, and this was a time where people can afford things, and people were flush with crypto. But we like sold, I think, 12,000 of them at point zero 0.08 ETH. And I was like, but that wasn't us. That was the Gutter Cat Gang charging, for the project. So like and which I was fine with, of course, because that was up to them. We just our job was to provide a comic book. We didn't even know it was going to be an NFT. We were just doing it for IP stuff. So they sold about they've sold it out, and I was like, okay, fuck, there's some value here. People like the comic, or people you know like this NFT stuff, and then, man, it's been so long. Yeah, along the way, I mean, I have an ape that I was producing animations with, and I got two licenses from Board Ape Yacht Club, and I was premiered because I was like I think I was like the only one that was not the only one, but just the I was doing the best type of content with my ape because I've just had I'm an actor and screenwriter. I've already got a leg up on a lot of people in this space and how to just produce it really quick and write good content and stuff like that. So I got a lot of notoriety from that, and man, yeah, I don't know, man. There's I don't know. I just There's a lot of good wins here and there. I just haven't. I don't really sit down and write down the journal of them. With no disrespect to your question, I just I don't know, man. Every day is a day of relevancy for me. Try to stay as relevant as possible and be connected and to the right people in the space, and if they see value in working with me, then I have to determine if it's valuable to work with them, kind of thing. So yeah, but yeah, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, no, the comic book is super cool, and also just general props on like being able to leverage what you did prior to Web3 in Web3. I mean, I always say sometimes I know this is something I was, you know, spinning in my head before I officially got into space. It's like, where is my place, professionally in this space? And since joining, I've realized that whatever it is you're already doing in Web 2 is absolutely needed in Web 3. So, like, what advice would you have for people who are listening right now who are maybe wondering where their place is in Web 3 and how they can integrate whatever their talents, whatever their skills are in Web 2 into crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see, in this space really, like, I don't, there are certain jobs, right? Like you start realizing right away, like, okay, who's a rising star in a community, right? Like, are they like, are they great at memes? Are they great reply people? Like, is being a reply guy a job? Right? Like, I don't know if that's a job. I mean, unless you're getting a bunch of impressions and you're making money from X doing that, then I guess you have an equation of you're making money from that. Is that so like it's hard to when you see the old world, it's like there's a plumber, you got all these specific jobs that just sort of make sense. But in this space, like, I think, what was it, wasn't like thread guy when he was with Jenkins, the valet he had a title was like vibe director. I
He
thought
was
that was
the
kind of
first director of Vibes. That's
yeah,
right.
I mean, I thought I mean, I really thought that that was a clever, whether anybody fucked with it or not, it was a clever kind of thing because when you're throwing a party at your house, you're the director of those vibes. Please take your shoes off, relax. I'm going to give you an experience. There's going to be food. Please don't eat over the carpet. You know what I mean? Because I got to vacuum that shit and I would hate to, well, like you're directing the vibes. You know what I mean? So, like, I think in short, that if you'll start to see like in this space like you're not really meeting people's face or hearing their voice more than you're seeing how they're typing in a Discord or a Telegram group or on Twitter, right, or on X. You're seeing kind of skill set and resume in a way. Maybe you're not seeing the resume, but you're seeing okay, this person I fuck with. Maybe they could be. Would you like to do collabs, right? In collabs, I think is probably one of the best jobs you can start out with because you're like a business dev. It's like Gambler is the founder. I'm the collab manager. Let's say Chaz over here is the artist that we all want a whitelist from because he's putting out something and everybody's talking about it. So Troy talks to Chaz, says, "Hey, Gambler is the founder of the Gambler Society of Wonderful Bozos." Let's say, and then we get the sorry, I just came up with that. So we get that allocation, and now like, and if it mints well and it does well, Gambler's happy, the community's happy, Troy's happy because he's in the nest providing the two-way street, and Chaz is happy because he found a community that actually fucks with his art. And then if you copy and paste that to like 10, 25, 50 communities, now Troy is a collab manager that people will go to, like, Troy, get us that spot. And Troy becomes a little tiny star that's providing value to both the founder and the project. To me, that's business dev work. In a very like loose way, but also a very real way. I mean, I think so. Like, I think it's like what are you good at? What could you learn? You got time. You got time to make a cup of coffee. You got time to like learn something and decide how you want to activate yourself in an active community. And so like, is it are you a leader? That's up to you. I don't know that. So like, what does a leader do? You just fucking get up, you leap, and the net will appear, kind of shit, right? Like, you just get up and lead the way. You may not know what you're doing, but a lot of these people don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to stick, throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. And so like, I don't know if this is the best answer. Like, I can't pick out a lot of community members that are just holders and they like to vibe and they just want to print off some of the alpha, but they continue to vibe. I don't know if that's a job, but yet at the same time, it's very valuable to have them there because they're like your fans, but fans that you hear their point of views from. Like, you don't hear like football teams and baseball teams and studios, they don't need to hear your opinion. They're going to see the critics online, but they're really not asking you for your opinion. They don't ask you after a game if they win to come back to the locker room and talk with them. Oh, that's what you think we should do with our pitcher? Okay, you think we should rotate the like, they don't give a shit. They just want you to buy their fucking tickets and their merch and their shitty hot dogs at the game, right? So this is a different world here where you can actually talk to the CEO, which is Gambler, and you're just like, you just got to the Discord, and Gambler doesn't know how smart you are, right? But you can start showing that with your input and your analysis in the Discord with all due respect. And Gambler's like, I like this guy, or I like this woman. I feel like I like their ideas. And all of a sudden, Gambler's implementing some of these ideas without having to be a DAO. It's just like you're implementing ideas, and there's a two-way street. So it's a very different thing where I don't see it as like jobs, but yet jobs are born out of that, whether it's vibe director or like community lead community meme artist or whatever like that. Like, that's a serious fucking that it's not a serious thing. It's a very valuable thing that's really real and credible. I don't know if I'm giving the right answers here, but like, this is just the way I feel about it.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And I couldn't agree more in terms of like the opportunity in this space to connect with some of the major movers and shakers in whatever on whatever team you're interested in, whether that's by creating content. Well, I'll let you answer, and you alluded to some ways already, but what are some of your favorite, excuse me, what are some of your favorite ways, or some ways that you would suggest people who are looking to get into working in Web3? What are some of your favorite ways to get that conversation started with a potential employer?
Yeah, so like, I would look at like, okay, bullshit, but with all due respect to like relative truth, bullshit a resume, like use ChatGPT, tell talk to Chat, like this is the first thing I would do. Talk to ChatGPT. This is one of the first things I would do. You talk to ChatGPT, say like, "This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I like to do. How do these things that I like to do that doesn't seem like a real job in the classical sense? How can I put these in certain piles on a resume where if I'm getting projects for somebody for from an artist for a community, what is that called? And they'll tell you like that's business development, right? So like you've done collabs for project collaborations is a real thing. And so that falls under to me business development, right? So you have this Web3 resume that says certain things that you like to do, put that together, see if you like it, upload it to LinkedIn just to have it, right? Just to have that thing as an exercise so you can distill and define and do the work. Like taking you to the next step is just making a resume. Like what else are you doing with your day? You can take an hour to fucking do this just to do it. It's the same thing as like I've been using this analogy lately. Like it's all like you could be the most negative person, but when you have a birthday cake in front of you and it's your birthday and there's a candle there and everybody's waiting for you to blow it out, what are you doing before that? You're fucking making a wish. You're making a wish in case shit happens. We'll make the resume in case shit happens. You just get that out of the way, right? And the other thing is when Guttercat get like in 2021, these founders didn't have their DMs closed. You could just DM, Board Ape Yacht Club wasn't a $5 billion valuation when it minted, right? Guttercat Gang, even though they minted out, you could just access these founders. And so I just said, listen, here's my IMDb link. I'm a writer and actor in Hollywood. I don't really necessarily need the job, but I definitely would love to help you if you're doing any animations or comic books or anything like that. I like to throw my hat in the ring. Within 30 minutes, they got back to me and said, it's incredible that you just DM'd me because we are doing that right now. So they threw me in a group with Dave from Ordinauts and two other blokes, and we all became friends. And then I realized Dave lives like 15 blocks away from me. Out of all the fucking countries in the whole fucking world, in this decentralized world of people buying NFTs, he's now my best friend in the world, basically, and he lives right up the road. Like, you just don't fucking know. If you really have a question, just fucking ask the founder. If they don't respond, you move the fuck on. They don't owe you shit. You just DM them. That's like asking a girl out and she says no. Well, move the fuck on. You don't want to bother her. She knows you like her. If it's not reciprocated, move the fuck on. Right. So I would just say get up off your ass because no miracles come to people sitting on their ass. It just doesn't. You got to meet it halfway. It's just with anything. So I would just say get your fucking ducks in a row. What do you want to do? What value do you provide? And is there an opportunity cost for this? Maybe you do it for free for a few months. I mean, look. So when we minted Retordinals on the halving block a couple of years ago, this guy named Wyra from Bolivia, he was like, "I love Retord." And I talked to him. We were on a Discord call, like the whole community, and he was like, "I love this, blah blah blah." He wanted to be a collab manager. He's never done it before. So I was like, yeah, fucking do it. Like let's do it. Like, and I built collab teams. So I just already knew how to kind of train him. It took a second. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, he gets a job already from another project at Ordinals, paid job to do collabs. Now he's been doing like he's working with Virgilians, on the Spark project. He's just been the last 2 years. I put him on every project that we're about to do and any kind of new protocol. I always tell you need Wyra. He's the fucking goat. Him or Soa. They're both collab managers for both Retordinals and Ordinauts. Like why use four when I can use the same two for both projects? It doesn't make sense, It's like I don't need another gambler. You're the only gambler I need. You know what I mean? There isn't another Troy. You don't need another Troy. You can go get one if you want, but like I don't need to. I don't need another gambler to audition for me. I got you, right? You're a good guy. You provide a certain value, and that's it. Same thing with Ryber and Soa. They just asked. You know what I mean? They asked, and they're just good people, and they're trusted in the ecosystem. By and large. So get a resume going on LinkedIn. Act like you've been a professional. It'll look professional. Don't think in Web 2 terms like, oh, it's what so Web 2. So, dude, everybody in Web 3 are just Web 2 people that just have knowledge about Web 3. There's no real difference. We have to invert the thinking. Like, there's right now there's a few people on the space, right? Um, we're only talking to each other. All our ideas are eventually wanting to leak out to the world so they know what the fuck we're talking about in here. So they know what's going on. So I don't know. Does that answer it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I want to expand there. So like now you got the conversation, whether it's I know it can be, someone refers you, it can be more of an official interview, it can be more casual, but when it comes time for that conversation with the potential employer, the team you're excited about, how can folks make sure that they go into that chat prepared to effectively exemplify their value that they bring to the table? How can folks make sure that they go into that conversation prepared to properly
Well, you
communicate
got,
what they
yeah,
can bring to the table?
you, you
Go
you
ahead.
got you got to get your words together, right? You got, like, what do you do? Can you throw a ball really far? you know or do they need a quarterback? Like, do you have videos of you throwing 60 to 70 yards? And tell them, like I can throw with both hands. If you could throw with both hands, like, that's another, you know what I mean? Like, you got to say that shit. Tell them that you love their company. This is why you do, and this is how you'll be useful in their company. Like, if you're trying to reach out, let's say, let's say VCs get emails, thousands of emails all day long. Do you think that they're going to open up all those fucking mass emails from people that are like, I do this? No, you got to find a few VCs, and you really got to care about the company that you want to work with, that's going to use you as a value for their company, right? So you'd have to have some questions for them, and you have to have your words in order, and you have to fucking believe what you're saying. Otherwise, you're just like, I can do this kind of. No, that's not good enough. You got to be the cream of the crop, man. That's what they're hiring. Doesn't matter what size you are, what gender you are. I mean, maybe there's some, people had issues. Maybe they hire more men sometimes, or they hire more women. Whatever. I can't control that. But I think in this space, it's really about skill set and resume before you got a set of tits or you got a big, package down there. I really don't think it's not like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to keep it real, but like Hollywood's probably different, right? Coming from there, I actually look at the shows I want to be on, and I tell my agents, I'm not on that show. Can you get me an audition with that casting director? I'm being specific, right? I think you got to be specific, give a shit, and you have to be a long timer, and you got to take a bite on the first one. You may not get paid right away, right? In this space, there's no contracts right away. I want to work for a Discord. Okay, well, you're not going to get paid. You'll get paid in whitelist. So hopefully we'll print, and that's what you're going to get paid in, because the project doesn't have treasury funds, right? And until they build. But like, it's all about specificity, asking the right questions, and also knowing the words and caring about what you're saying, and really not phoning it in. You know. I hope this is helpful. I don't know.
No, it absolutely is. How do you define success in the roles you hold?
Well, I don't see it in terms of money. I see it in as like, okay, they're reactive to my stuff. They like my work. They like me as a person. I whatever is working, I'm gonna keep doing it. And then I don't know. It's just like, if they're talking about me to other people, and I'm getting DMs from other projects. Hey, Troy, I heard you work with so such and such. Would love to have you. I'm like, okay, something's working. There's a success thing that I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to keep doing that. And for me, my success would be social credit. and that gets marketed. Man, Troy is like he sits and listens to you, man. He sits and listens to you, and he didn't charge me for his time. Obviously, I mean, I could, but like, what am I going to do? If I can charge people $100, $500 to talk to me, I mean, I could, but like, I'm not trying to get 500 bucks from somebody and build an empire that way, right? I'm trying to build an empire a different way, and I think it's from social credit. But that's for me. If you want to charge for your time, you got to prove it at some point. But I think success is not necessarily in terms of money. It's just how you feel. Like, every little thing throughout your day. Like, if you see a piece of trash on the floor in your neighborhood, are you going to stop and look around for the person that you did not see that threw that down and make your whole day about trying to find that person and teaching them a lesson about picking up trash? Or it doesn't bother you enough to just pick it the fuck up, throw it away, and move the fuck on? To me, that's success. That kind of like thinking is a successful way of thinking. And so, but in Web3, it's just like being a good person and not trying to be clever, but being intelligent. Like, clever thinks of themselves, and most people think of themselves. What can you do for me? This is what I do. I think you're Troy. I think because you tweet a lot or you do this, that you could help me out. Well, I'm not here to help you out. Like, I can sense if you want me to help you out. How does that? I already feel it's a one-way street. So if you come into this idea of like, it's like, how can you help each other out? To me, that's a successful game plan, in my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that old saying. It's like your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? It's like
Exactly. Yeah.
you want to
I mean,
create a
like, if you're a bad guy, you get marketed that way. If you're a good guy, you get marketed that way. Either way, you're getting marketed in some way. It's like, stay the fuck away from Gambler if he's a bad guy. So some people are gonna, oh no, you gotta fuck with Gambler. He's a good guy. That is currency there. It may not look like dollars and cents right away, but like, next thing you know, 2 years later, Gambler's on a yacht, let's say, because he was a good guy. Now, listen, there's a lot of bad people in the world that get ahead. Scammers get rewarded all the time. People step on necks to get ahead. They get rewarded sometimes. Those are short term, though. Could you imagine stepping on necks for the rest of your life? And you could step on necks for the rest of your life. I would like to ask that person, how is the quality of their life, whether they're on a yacht or not? Like, would you trade their lifestyle and who they are as a person if you're a good person? Like, and you want to do it the right way, or with your morals and ethics, it's just, yeah, it can be a little dicey when you think about it that way. But like, if it doesn't feel good, don't do it, kind of thing. Yeah.
So we're getting to the end of our show here.
Oh,
Just
it's
a
a quick
couple
show.
more
Damn.
questions. Yeah, yeah. We like to keep it brief, make it easy for people to tune in, get the game, and then go on about their days. Also, we record it too, so it's easy to digest afterwards.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But
I couldn't retweet the space because for some reason on the app, there's no.
yeah, I don't.
But
I think it's
it's
because I host from my desktop. I don't know why, but for some reason, since I host from my desktop and then I jump on as a guest on my phone, it doesn't have the usual purple pill in the lower right hand corner. But we'll
oh
work
yeah.
around it.
Oh,
We'll
it's
work around
okay.
it.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
But I want to ask you, Troy, like, what is your favorite part about working in this industry? And then, if you want to share, if something comes to mind, what is your least favorite part?
My favorite part is, I don't know, like, when one of my favorite parts is just like, I don't know, it could be anything from getting a ticker, right? And all of a sudden all your homies from all the chats align and you're printing together, and half these people you've never even seen their face and you've known them for 4 years, but there's like this deep love that just like you can feel that is going through this screen. I'm like, I just love you people, like we're sitting on our ass, and at our desks and making money, right? And the losses come with that too, and so you kind of share that as well. Like, okay, we'll get the next one, which is the right attitude. That's what my agent always says. You'll get the next one. It's just just the way it is. It means don't focus on the past or learn from the past and just move differently. Um, that's what I'm just that camaraderie, whether it's female or males, like it's just that love and the gifs that we share that just like they just crack us up that keep the conversation going. Literally, you could have a conversation with gifs back and forth all fucking day long. And I guess my least favorite is that this space, and it will, as more millions and millions of people come into it, there's going to be so many different protocols. But like right now, as small as this space is, it's so fucking fractured. It's so fractionalized, rather. I mean, it is fractured as well, but it's so fractionalized that the leaders on each chain aren't really communicating with each other as well. And that's fine. I just wish they would. And also talking on Twitter, which is like the leading app for us to build and communicate with in terms of publicity and being public and getting our conversations and digesting, them online and having conversations that way in spaces that they're still like the algorithm is so fucked, it just doesn't help at all. You could be writing banger tweets and it just doesn't get seen because the algorithm doesn't like it. But then people say the algorithm isn't fucked, your tweets are. And I'm just like, not all the time. Not all the time. Because I know people that write for other people. When they write their own tweets, 6 likes. When they write for companies, thousands of likes. So it really isn't the tweet. It's really they're once somebody has found their runway, and I think a lot of people found it in 2021, 2022. Those people are still getting rewarded, and their content isn't as good as some of these new up and comers that just can't really find it so easy to carve their own lane for them. And I want to see some new stars here. We all kind of want to see some fresh stuff. I mean, shit, people are probably tired of seeing me at some point. I'm just being self-deprecative on purpose here, but it's I'm always looking out for the underdog because I'm still have the underdog spirit. That's how I stay champion blood. That's champion blood talking. I'm never going to lose that. I'm just never going to lose. If I'm at the top, that I'm going to probably fail and lose the top, and then I'm going to try to get back on the top again. You know, it's it's just yeah. So least favorite is just how fractionalized we all are and how we don't communicate, and that our chain seems so different that we just don't intermingle unless we're at a meetup and like, hey, I remember you from over there, and people are like, oh yeah, Ordinals, oh yeah, Faye or fucking Soul or what. It's like, bro, we're just people. We're trying to print, make money, and thrive and be good for the most part. My least favorite, yeah, my most favorite is just like the love from seeing anon, people that I've never seen before, and just that love that continues. And yeah, anyway.
It's interesting because it's kind of the way you describe it. It's almost like two different sides of the same coin, right? It's like being able to connect with people, and then on the flip side, it's like, man, we could still be doing better, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying that, I did a TV show years ago, and it was, we're online and we're connected, but we're also disconnected. It's a sort of it's a two-sided
Yeah,
coin,
yeah,
you know, but yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Troy, to kind of bring it all together, you've dropped a lot of gems over the last 40 minutes or so. What final advice would you give to folks listening right now who are looking to either break into working in Web3 or to advance their careers in Web3?
I still have issues with this myself. Is that sometimes, I have a career outside of this space that, I mean, hundreds of millions of people have seen my face in the last 30 years, like just a lot, you know what I mean? But in this particular space, I'm not acting so much. I'm not trying to do Hollywood over here in the sense of like, I want to do a film and then put it on the Twitters, you know, like what job does that get? Like, that so for me, I would say if you really want something, just fucking DM somebody and tell them why they should hire you. And you better be like Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan talks shit and he's still going to destroy you. That was part of his game plan. You got to be a force like Kobe, like Michael Jordan was, like fucking Serena Williams. They were a force, and they can just prove it to you and tell you while they're crushing you. Yeah, you don't have to be a dick like that when you're putting your email together, but just get up off your ass. If you have time to make a cup of coffee, you have time to write this out because this is your life, and you just start DMing, people like, hey, this is what I want to do. I like your company. This like give me a trial run. There's alpha callers that get trial runs in alpha discords, and they'll give them a trial one for a week if they have a couple of good print jobs. From people printing, they have good analysis. They have proven their track record, but they're not getting paid right away. That's the handshake that you have to do. So like you got to take a bite on the first one, man. Like a lot of the young kids out here, they probably haven't worked regular jobs right away, and crypto was their way in. And because you're working for your bags, but it's a very different kind of work ethic. You like, do you have the spine to make it in a real world? Can you work at a 9 to 5 at a Web3 company? Just caring about that. Is that something you want to do? Or do you think memeing all day is actually going to get you work? You got to be realistic here. Like, what are the teams hiring, and is what you like to do in any of those fucking are they filed in any of those categories? And if they're not, it's going to be hard to kind of get a job for these people. But if you're good at social media, maybe you are running the social media accounts for company. Like my buddy Klaus, he's running all the social media for OpenSea, but he also owns Psychedelic Anonymous, which is an ETH project. Like he found his way. They must have found him, or I don't know how it all went down, but like he found his way. Now he's running all 10 different platforms for, like Telegram, Discord, whatever for OpenSea. That's a big job, but he can handle it. You know, it's really about as simple as that. It's going to be hard, but it's as simple as that, man. Life is supposed to be hard. But you can make it easy on yourself by meeting it halfway. I'm telling you, miracles don't happen when you're sitting on your ass. I know I just said when you're at your desk, you're trading, but when you're sitting at your desk, you have to, right? Because you have two charts up. You look, like that's work as well. But if you're not at the desk and not at the computer and wondering why you didn't make any money, it's because you weren't at the computer paying attention to the tickers or the charts all day, right? So anyway, that's my basic long form answer.
Yeah, shout out Classy, man. He's another legend in the space. Does a lot, contributes in a lot of places, and worked hard for that role with OpenSea. But you're right. Be honest with yourself. Be real. Be practical, and fucking get to work. There's no better way to put
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, I guess the last thing I would say is that if you think you're trying, like, again, I'll say this again, clever people think of themselves, intelligent people think of everybody, right? So if you're like, I want to get away with something by being clever, like that infrastructure mentally, like in your body, it doesn't have legs. You will run out of gas. People will find out that you're a clever son of a bitch. And I don't mean clever in a good way. Okay. And,
Right. Yeah.
and,
No.
and,
It
and
reminds me of
it,
another quote I
yeah,
love. It's like, if you want to go fast, go
yeah.
alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah, and I'm still bad at this. Also, this other part, opportunity cost. Like, if yes, you might have to take a bite on the first couple of jobs for a few months, but like, eventually, what is the opportunity cost for your life? If you get pulled away and somebody needs you for something, where are you not making money at? If your life is about money, so your time is opportunity cost. You know why? Because that company, they want to make money too. So don't feel ashamed when you're like, this is what it costs to work with me. I'm willing to negotiate, but this is what it costs to work with me. But I'm never sick. I'll always show up. I go to fucking bat. I'm a good guy. Here are my references. Like that is a solid business moat. You need to have a business moat, an unattackable business from all sides. That's what a moat is around the castle, right? That's what the moat is. It's unattackable, right? It's there for a reason. They use this in Silicon Valley a lot. Like, what's your business moat? And it's It's like, I'm a good guy, good girl, never get sick, always show up, you know, I'm not going to be bipolar on the timeline, and if a company does, if it doesn't work out, you're going to go on the timeline and be a bitch about it. You can, you can, but if it was like, hey, we don't like your work anymore, you shouldn't be fucking tweeting about that company. They don't like your work, man. They just don't like your work. Like, it's okay. Not every woman that you're with or guy you're with is going to like you by the end of your relationship, right? You know what I mean? You have to understand that you were in that equation too, and there's stuff that they didn't like about you, and there's stuff that you didn't like about them. Leave it at that. Move the fuck on, because nobody wants to hire the next person that's like, well, I like his work, but he fucking tweets about you if he leaves the job because we let him go. Like, pay attention. There's paper trails for this shit. You can be real, but you can be calculated and smart. Okay, don't be a bitch, is what I'm saying. Anyway.
Yeah, no, well said, man. Everything counts. Everything counts. Everything counts. Every tweet, every interaction, every smile, every holding the door open for somebody, every connection, even if it oftentimes doesn't present itself, or the direct value doesn't show through right away. Over time, that stuff adds up, man. And I'm a big believer in the power of delayed gratification. And I think that's a lot of what you're talking about as well. Um,
For sure.
Man, Troy, you're the man, bro. Couldn't thank you enough for this time, for all the insights you've been dropping. My last question before we let you go is, how can listeners support you and the teams you're working with?
I mean, just look at my profile. Like, all those companies I'm working with, they're all fucking great teams, and I wouldn't have them on my profile. These are like my ride or die people. There's a reason for it. They just are. And if you see me talking to anybody, and you may not like that person, and you're questioning, well, Troy, I thought he was a good guy. He's talking to the person. He's talking to my enemy. There's a reason I'm talking to them, and it isn't because the money. Believe me, it's not about that. It's like, I've vetted them. I've gone to their house. I've met their wife. I see them in action, because I'm telling you, like, I don't want anybody to fucking come to my house or come to my life and they're trying to extract from me. I can sense it. I'm like a fucking wolf. I can fucking sense it. If you trying to fuck me, you're trying to, like, you go to a meetup and you're like, yeah, I just need to get, whether you're trying to fuck me physically or you're trying to fuck me over, like, I can sense that shit, because I'm not here to do that. I don't go to meetups to fuck bitches. I don't go to meetups to. I'm attracted to women, but I'm not there for that. Sure, there's a lot of love. I don't get caught up into that, bro. I'm not gonna shit where I eat. It's very difficult, but dude, I've been in this space for 5 6 years. It's not that difficult. There are other people in the world that you could go date, because if you go and you're young and you can, most of you won't be adults about it. You will not be adults about it. You'll be like, this bitch did this and this fucker did. No, you're not being adults. My daughter knows better than you. Like, the type of thing is that you if you fuck somebody over and it's not reciprocated and you fall for somebody, or and they don't like you, you're not going to go back to that meetup and meet 100 other people that you could have possibly worked with, and vice versa. Like, I look, unless you want to be adults about it, which I doubt will happen largely, just go there pure intentions to network, and so people can see you and see why they should value you and why you should be working with them, or whatever. I mean, this is just for people that want to work in the space. This is not for collectors and traders. They could give a shit. They just want to collect and trade. So if you want to thrive that way, then go just do that. Just go do that, because a mixed plan gets mixed results. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Oh, that's real, man. A mixed plan gets mixed results. It's I like that. When we remember that, I'm gonna steal that one. Troy, bro, thank you for the time. Thank you for all the
Yeah,
insights,
man.
all the wisdom. Always a pleasure when I get to share stage with you and yap for a little bit. I constantly learn from you, so I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in here: Task, Brian, Icy, Chaz, everybody who's dropped in, anybody listening to the recording. We appreciate you. We're here again every Wednesday, every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Shout out Chief, who just jumped in.
Love
And
Chief.
Troy, man, any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
Yeah, man. I want to talk about Chief. No, I'm kidding. What's up, Chief? Dude, man, I don't know. Like, Chief is a good example, actually, of just all around solid motherfucker. Like, You can't be like Chief, but you can play like him, right? You can't be Chief, but you can play like it's the same thing in the Michael Jordan documentary. What's it called? What was that 10 part series? He's basically telling his team, "You got to play like me." And they loved him, but they didn't like him. Like you know what they got? They got 6 fucking rings. That was the point of that movie. You understand? And he was a solid all around person. I don't know Michael Jordan personally, but like Chief is a solid all around person, and that's the type of person that is marketed in a way that that guy will always be there, or that guy will provide, or that guy is just circumspect. You know, very clear. You know what I mean? He's not out to like, hey, can I get some? He never. I feel he's trying to fuck me over, or vice versa. That's the type of people that what is it? I mean, like, pay attention to how he speaks. Pay attention to some of the favorite people that you like speaking to. I mean, sure, I joke a lot on the timeline, but I also drop wisdom because I'm fucking old, man. I fucking touched a lot of burning stoves. I'm gonna tell you for free that if you want to live with the thoughts that I'm thinking, which I don't care if they're original or borrowed, is that I'm applying them. And I need these reminders myself. I'm not just writing for my own fucking lights. I'm like reminding myself, damn, you could be crushing it more. You were a little lazy for this hour. I don't punish myself. I'm like, hey, maybe you need to walk a little bit and lay on the hammock in the sun in LA. That's a part of growth. Step the fuck away so you can come back to the desk and crush it with your homies online. But it's always clear, man. And try to stay as sober as fuck. Don't be a drug addict and drink too much. You know what I mean? That shit
Yeah,
is
and
for
like you said, man, so
that
much
sh-
of it comes down to just being honest with yourself, right? Like being
yeah.
honest with yourself and surrounding yourself with people that love you and that keep you grounded, right? Because sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need those people to kind of keep you where you need to be. But that's our time, ladies and gentlemen. Troy, you're an absolute legend. Again, shout out to everybody in here. Appreciate you jumping in. Hope to catch you for another show. Till next time, you guys know the drill, man. We appreciate you. We're rooting for you, and we will see you soon.